brilliant insight.
No worries, man. Always happy to share a good story or two.
So,
So the modding
sorry,
community,
can anyone just confirm the here fudge?
oh, they can hear.
That's okay. Go ahead.
I think he's way too excited. Um, I'm sorry for the audio quality. I'm on a set of headphones that's dodgy.
No, so go on
So
there.
the modding community, at least in terms of Bethesda, the modding community was kind of like the opinion on them was mostly positive, especially once they dove into actually having their own sponsored mods. Um, there are, of course, opinions about certain mods that are maybe a little weird. Um, I'm sure I don't have to elaborate on that too
Oh,
much.
we know exactly what you're talking about. The sort of like more adult, not safe for work style.
I mean, that's not even the weirdest one I've seen. Um, it's since been essentially scrubbed from the internet, but there was for about 3 or 4 days. Um, how do I scrub this for Twitch safety? Uh, a brown shirt, jack booted thug mod,
Oh, right. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
com- complete with red armbands and iconography,
That is one
and
thing when you
that
give it out to the general public when it comes to it modding, they'll make anything like.
now, admittedly, they did use those skins to replace the Brotherhood of Steel.
Okay.
So I I guess I get it, but at the same time, please no. Um, some of the mods were really cool. Like, admittedly, there were a lot of things that people made in their own free time that made the game better. Like, there were some folk that made mods that actually improved on stuff that was abandoned for triage or left broken for time. And that was, good quality of life updates. People actually made patches for things that Bethesda never touched. And that was awesome. Um, but as with, the way the gaming industry used to be, anybody can make anything. And just because they can doesn't mean that they should. And there was definitely a lot of that mindset. And I can tell you, based off hierarchy within the company, the mindset was also very different. Like, the closer you were to the ground of actually like interacting with the game, for instance, our QA guys, they loved the mod community, like loved it.
But the higher ups were,
Mhm.
obviously it's free stuff, so in their minds, they're probably not happy that the community are reacting so positively to something that's fan made.
Well, there was also the requirement that, sponsored mods be like actually functional, not just a thing you slap together. Like, you weren't going to get put in the Bethesda store if it was just, glitchy nonsense.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was definitely, the bean counters up above definitely had that mindset of how do we monetize this? Because, money good, microtransactions, way of the world now.
Oh, why?
But it's just I enjoy some mods. I don't often mod my games because I like to play them as they were originally meant to be played, and if I want to go back and play them a different way later, I do. But like a good buddy of mine who has been playing games since he could toddle insists on modding every game all of the ways possible, and I don't have time for it.
Oh, why? Because if the mods break, which a lot of the times you slap a couple together, sound cool, but unless someone's tried and tested it and it crashes, then it's just like, you spend a whole day wasting your time to play something that just crashes.
Yeah. Or, you add a mod in after you've already started a game, you've got a good developed save going, and whatever the mod is has broken code and destroys your save data, so you got to start all over.
devastating. So, since we've got you on, this has somehow turned into like a magical Discord moment. How speaking of magical Discord moment, my follow crashed. How did you enjoy your time at Bethesda then? Just now that everyone can hear you?
It wasn't bad. There were a lot of late nights. Crunch time in the gaming industry is basically where you lose personal life and essentially live in the office. I mean, there were a couple of days where I actually slept at the office in
Serious?
between shifts. Yeah. Yeah, you sleep at the office, you bring a spare set of clothes if you have the mind to, grab a shower in the gym, and then get back to work.
And the contractors didn't have that option because there's no gym to them?
I mean, honestly, dude, I badge swiped contractors into there all the time.
Oh, you're a hero then. And I don't think anyone would ever look at you differently for that.
Yeah, it's, I mean, don't get me wrong, I did get yelled at about it after a while, but I don't care. It was always very silly to me that access to services within the building was limited. Like, I didn't sign up to work in an apartheid state. I signed up to work in a company where everyone was unified towards a singular goal.
Which would make sense considering the project they're contracted on was, like you were all in it together and working side by side. If they were on like, I wouldn't even say it would make a difference if they were on a different level, but shoulder to shoulder, that's a bit embarrassing,
Exactly. Like it always felt really scummy with stuff like that because like you'd see your colleagues mixed in rows, like they didn't separate contractors from full staff. They all sat intermixed together. And generally full staff might have been like a position higher, like the contractors would, be reporting to them. But in some cases they were just same rank and file. And you'd see the full employees get really excited to be given an amazing gift or perk. And everyone around them is looking on like, well, we worked hard too. What's up?
That's crazy. Would you have known if that was a common thing in the gaming industry, or would that be more?
It is.
Oh,
it is.
Fair enough.
It's surprisingly common, actually. And there are some companies, albeit smaller companies, that don't do that to you because they also don't hire contractors. They just hire employees. And sometimes they downsize, and sometimes they're lucky enough to actually have another project ready in the pipe so they can just move the entire workforce over.
And what point did you work up with them? Were you involved in any of the projects that they were going on to, or did you kind of leave at the end of Fallout 4?
I didn't leave directly at the end of Fallout 4. I left, let's see, we had just finished, I think I left at Far Harbor.
Oh, fair enough. So you didn't get the Nuka World, or was it already being worked on?
It was being worked on by another cross-section of the team. Like, I worked on Fallout up until Far Harbor. They already had the bodies they needed for Nuka. And then I went on to Doom 2016 for a minute.
Fair enough.
And then I left shortly after that.
Was that part of your decision, or was it just timing?
Oh, no, I wanted to leave. Like, I'd been looking for other gigs for a minute.
And you're happy to be out of the gaming industry then?
Oh, I'm completely out. It was a fun experience. I will give it that. And I will tell you this up front, and anyone who's listening in chat, please heed this warning. If you ever see an advertisement for a collegiate program offering you game development training or classes, don't. Do not waste your time. You will be better served doing it on your own in so many ways. Learn to code, learn to script, learn to write programs on your own. A lot of the courses that are geared towards game development, you will never actually find a job that way. I know so many people who went that route and never actually got into the industry because it's saturated heavily. And most of the people that are successful are self-made. And yeah, in a lot of cases, the industry will overwork you and undervalue you.
And I understand, Fudge, what you're doing now doesn't involve coding, or?
I mean, I work in IT.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Sorry, I'm thinking of when you said about being a bouncer. That's...
Yeah, no, I mean, I was a bouncer from the time I was in college until probably about 5 years back. And it takes a toll on the body physically. Um, but it's also a lot of fun. But you lose on a lot of sleep because unless you're full-time bouncing, which I was not at that point, you're doing it for side money, but side money does not make up for countless 3 to 4 hours of sleep nights.
And is there any more, like, do you have any NDAs that are still ongoing, or is everything expired? Like, there's nothing continuing?
Most of mine are expired. Most of what I would have known has already been released.
So what can you tell us what
Okay.
merch you have from Prey that was not released?
Oh yeah, got some shirts and keychains and there's the little cheapo rubber wristbands and stuff like that. Prey 2 was really, really, really anticipated. Like people wanted it badly because the ending of the original Prey, like you don't win. Like everything bad happens, and while you do beat the boss, like you don't feel victory, but you do have like the conclusion is basically that you go on to space rather than return to a ravaged world. And it was really awesome the way that they did it, and they made you feel it. Like it was emotional, for an early Xbox game. But when they announced that they were canceling and shelving it, it was like it was a heartbreaker.
And did they
Kind of
transfer
like
it onto
when
another
people found
IP?
out.
Oh, sorry.
So, okay, so Bethesda, well, not Bethesda, the parent company, ZeniMax, bought all the rights to Prey, including, all assets, IPs, imagery, et cetera, so on and so forth. All the code for Prey 2 was lost, like it was just gone. So they abandoned the original IP and just reused the name. There is uh, there's no recognition of the original Prey franchise in the remake or the what do you call it, the reboot.
And what was the reboot?
Um, the reboot was that you worked for a scummy like future tech company that was doing experimentation on like a weird tentacle monster style alien that broke out, and then you had to survive this massive complex. I mean, it was okay. It just comparatively, they could have named it anything else, and it would have just been a blah sci-fi series. Like they didn't have to use the name Prey, but they did, because I guess someone in marketing thought it sounded cool. I don't know.
Fair enough. How did you find yourself working at Bethesda? Like, how does that come about? You just seen like an advertisement for it, or?
Um, I mean, it was in the area, and I was applying. Like I was working for a law firm, and it was really soul sucking.
Ah, if I feel you
And so I
there.
was just I was shotgun blasting my resume out to whoever would read it. And yeah, no, I got the interview with Bethesda. I ended up having a meeting with someone who had played, like she had a band that performed at a club I was security for, well, floor manager for at that time. Um, and we vibed and we talked about. We didn't really even talk about work ethic or anything like that. I mean, we just talked about gaming and nerd stuff. And
Bet.
then the second part of my interview was with a guy who just rolled in and all he did was ask me if I ever considered doing any voice acting work.
So it was
And
voice acting, and you ended up working on the game instead, or did you voice anything?
I plead the fifth.
Everyone,
so
everyone will
listen,
be
I'm
going.
not gonna,
Stinky will be making fan fiction or something if you were to tell her that.
okay, listen, I'm not going to give you my government name by any means, but I do have credits on IMDb. I have done commercials. I've done a couple of audiobooks. I don't want to say star of stage and screen, but I mean I've been in movies. I performed on stage for years. Uh, Acting is very much in my bailiwick, as is voice work, accent work.
Fair enough. I didn't see
I
that
mean,
one
I can
coming.
sound like your neighbor right now if you want me to.
You can what?
It's tempting to
I could sound like your neighbor right now if you want me to.
That's crazy skill. When did you find yourself doing that before Bethesda, after, or during? Like when did you find the time for all that?
Oh, definitely before. I've been acting since I was like 5.
Well, there you go. That's I didn't
Can
see
I
that
do a
one
Tommy
coming.
impression? Hold on. Stinky wants me to do a Tommy impression. Right, so really when it comes down to it, I've been doing voice work and different acting things like that for Christ, 26, 27 years. It's uncanny the way you can actually move your voice around and do different accents piecemeal. Like right now, I'm dipping deeper into like more of a Scottish accent. But sometimes, you have to really dig down and find your Eastern European and just mess with people. You want to have a conversation on the phone with somebody, and then you actually go to meet them, and then you talk to them like you're from a different country altogether. So you see how I just transition from Russian, now I'm all the way over to a Frenchman. Sometimes you want to make sure they don't know who you are. So when you tell them, hey, oh, hello, it is me, I've been talking to you this entire time, really, you just got to let them know that sometimes deep down inside your body and your soul, you're just 20 people inside of a hat.
That was pretty incredible. I must say, I did not know what was coming there. Damn, that was very good. Whoa.
Yeah, it's,
So people have been. Some people have watched a movie or two or a commercial, and they just don't know that it could be you.
yeah.
Well, that was not my bingo card. By the way, I didn't mean for this to turn into like an interview or anything. Not holding you here.
Oh, dude. No, it's cool. Like, hey, listen, I will stick around as long as you want me to. Matter of fact, I'm about to switch to my phone and start marching off towards my car.
Yeah, feel free to hang about. I'm not doing too much. Everyone seems to find this incredible. So, I personally, I've never interviewed or done anything like this. So this is just like completely off the cuff.
Congratulations. There's always the first time. Stand by.
Check.
I was just about to say that the only thing that didn't do you justice there was the audio quality, but what we heard was incredible. So it would be crazy to see what you'd be like, with more clarity.
Well, listen, give me like half an hour or 45 minutes. I'll be in front of a Shure mic and you can hear it.
A Shure mic?
Yep.
And can I ask you, do you any of that anymore?
Yeah.
Like freelance, or what way does that work?
Okay, so there's a couple different ways to deal with voice acting jobs. The good jobs are for if you're union.
Okay.
So if you actually have like a union card, you can get much better jobs. Me, I like to do the like audiobook readings where they pay you, a certain amount of cents per word. Because if I'm bored on a weekend, I'll knock out an entire book and just get paid a couple $100.
That is incredible. Because I at one point I did consider like audiobooks myself, but this is before I even did what I'm doing now. But like over here in the UK anyway, it was way too complicated to even get your foot in the door to do. I thought it was something you could just apply for, but hats off to the people that actually go through that process. You need to have a name, I suppose, what I'm saying.
No, you don't. Not at all, actually.
Really?
Seriously. There are websites dedicated to giving small freelance voice acting jobs. like non-union jobs. They just want a little blurb here, a little bit there. Sometimes they'll show how much money they're going to pay you up front. Sometimes they won't. But by and large, you can just sign up for those and do them.
Huh. Suppose my problem is I just didn't know where to look then.
That's one of the things that's kind of tedious about it. The other one that I find a lot of people have problems with is that they're too self-conscious.
I suppose.
So, like, they'll have access to it, but they won't do it because they're nervous or, you know.
Oh, I bet like streaming or anything, you know, if you if you don't have the nerves for it, you know, it's a hard climb.
That is true.
Did you ever consider streaming or anything? Just given you had the voice side of things knocked down, you know, just wondering.
So I would never have broadcasted it unless you asked me directly. So I have streamed. I did stream quite a lot. Now it's more like a couple times a month, if anything.
Oh, really? Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
On like your personal account, Fudge, or do you do it under a different alias?
No, it's Fudge Grande. Yeah, it's I've got, you know, a Twitch that again I use sparingly these days. But you know, just for posterity's sake, I've uploaded everything to YouTube just so that I can, you know, say I have it.
I will say one thing. I did zero research because I didn't click on your name yet. Oh well, fair enough. Okay, the more you know, folks. So there's Fudge. He does indeed stream.
Well, occasionally, like very occasionally.
And how do you find streaming yourself? Or what do you do? Do you play games or just?
Yeah. When I started out, so like I started out the same way a lot of streamers did, like right at the beginning of COVID, because stuck in the house and bored, you know?
What else do you do?
Can't go out and see anybody. You want to play video games with your friends online, and then, you know, a buddy or two is like, hey, why don't you try streaming? Here's some stuff to do it. And like, you know, I did for a while. And it got to the point where I was doing it like 5, 6, 7 days a week. And, you know, life happens.
I suppose that's the way it is. It is a big commitment, especially around, like, you know, doing anything else in life or working or...
Oh, true.
What's your favorite game then?
Ooh. Hard choice. And by all means, if you see chat, ask me any questions. I can't read them right now.
Oh, I'll have a look then. So if any of you have any questions, throw them in. I'll pass.
Let's see. Favorite games. Let's see. That's a Final Fantasy VII tattoo. That's a Bioshock tattoo. That's a Dead Space tattoo. So somewhere between those three.
Big Bioshock fan then?
Oh, huge.
Would it scare you? I've yet to play it. It is one of my number one like recommended to play, but I've yet to actually play it. So I suppose I'm in for a treat then.
Well, you don't like scary games, do you, Tom?
Listen, I promised everyone I'd do an episode of Chronos, and they gave me a key, so I'm kind of obligated now to do that because you have to do at least an hour when you get a key. So I'm bracing myself, but.
Oh, what? Chronos New Dawn?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Is it scary?
I wouldn't say that it's necessarily scary. I will say that it is the Dark Souls of third-person shooters.
Okay. I was watching
Switching
someone.
audio again.
Yeah, no worries. Oh, there's a question for you, Fudge. Stinky says, "Can you come to New Vegas Day, please?"
No.
Because as far as I'm aware, you're a big fan of New Vegas. Am I right?
Okay, Stinky. You're in trouble now.
Because he said he didn't want to talk about New Vegas, but here we go.
You know they expect me to do performance reviews.
No.
I just killed everything each time. No complaints.
All right, can you hear me still?
Yep.
Wonderful. Yep. Listen, we've gone over my feelings about New Vegas, Tom.
It's a very positive one as far as I'm aware.
That is a flagrant lie, and you know it.
No, Fudge
So the
has
only-
feelings on he has big feelings on New Vegas.
The only positive thing I have to say about New Vegas is that it's got a better survival mode, and the faction system was really good. That's the only positive stuff I have to say about New Vegas. Everything else, bunk.
They ruined it with the use of the engine, wasn't it? That was one of your big gripes with them.
Yeah, well, okay, so they didn't know what they were getting into, right? The whole gripe between that studio and, Bethesda was, oh, well, we were the original blah, blah, let us do the blah, blah. No. They were given an engine. They didn't investigate its limitations, and they overcommitted assets to an engine that couldn't handle them. And when they realized that they'd overcommitted assets, they said, oops, we got to go fix that. But what do? You empty a bunch of assets out of overpopulated areas, and then you do it a little too much and make everything barren. They goofed it. They goofed it real hard.
So that's why the strip
They made
obviously has 3 different loading screens to get the different sections.
Yup.
That all makes sense now. I have a question for you from Boiled Frog. What's the hardest voice type to do?
Oh, for me, it's probably going to be Afrikaans influenced English. I cannot do a South African speaking English voice to save my life.
As someone that frequents a restaurant with a South African owner, I too can understand how that can be a very difficult one to recreate.
Yeah, it's just it's like because they were Dutch, weren't they? The integration that happened down there, and just the way that the accent like curls around the words, I just cannot get my mouth to do it. And I've tried. I mean, like I said, the vocal cords is nothing but a muscle. You just have to practice them over and over again to get them to do what you want. But no matter how much I practice that accent, I cannot make it stick.
So, Fudge, how difficult would my accent be? Not for you doing it, but like in terms of just understanding it.
Like understanding how to do it, or understanding how to like make sense of your words. I'm not clear.
Oh, sorry. Like, do you difficult to understand? Because a lot of Americans find me.
No.
No?
No,
Interesting.
not at all. I mean, listen, man, I learned to practice a Glaswegian accent
Ooh.
from a Scotsman I knew. Like, your accent is no more thick than a glass of water. It's fine.
I'll take it as a compliment. Fudge, how did you find us? Like, what's your origin story? I asked a lot of people in chat this, so why not ask yourself? Like, did you just stumble on us?
Oh, how? Yeah. No, like I said, on my first day, every now and then I'll just like go on Twitch and I'll plug in the title of a game I worked on or one that I really, really like, and I'll just go in.
And what's your
I
reception?
don't-
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say I don't troll around Twitch, half as much as I used to, because you got all the people that you follow, and then you got hyper specific things that you enjoy, and it's every now and then you just find a good community and you stick there.
Oh well, I'm glad to hear that I'm hearing we're a good community. We've loved asking you
Oh,
all
no.
the questions and obviously torture. I felt it was torture the first couple of times you came in because it was just all Stinky wanted to do was just ask you question after question, and I'm like, my goodness, I almost was like, I hope if he's here to enjoy it, he isn't too overwhelmed. And then you kept coming back, so I suppose that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, no, it's not torture at all. Listen, I work IT in an industry where people with PhDs routinely tell me that they're not computer savvy. That's torture. Being asked questions about, gaming stuff is like, okay, there you go.
That's brilliant. So your favorite genre must be RPG or RPG survival horror style?
Less so with the survival horror, but definitely RPGs overall.
Would you
Like, I wouldn't, and it's kind of wild. I don't classify Dead Space or Bioshock as survival horror. To me, they're not. I mean,
Some trouble.
I guess if you looked at, them on a genre list, Dead Space would probably be there. Bioshock, I don't know, man. It's a wild and eclectic franchise. I don't know that Bioshock Infinite even could classify as horror.
Well, that's good. That kind of fills me with some confidence before I get to it. We have a question here, Fudge, for you. What's your hobbies? What do you like to do out of work?
Oh. Okay. So every once in a while, pick up game of rugby. I don't know if chat knows what HEMA is.
I don't know what him is. Educate us.
Okay. You throw on a functional set of armor and pick up a weapon that's just blunted steel. And you basically just go to town on your friends in a controlled ring environment.
I've seen videos on that. Although, normally they're like medieval, fully clad armor. But it looks like they're cosplaying, but like cosplaying / arena. Like that sort of thing?
So, I mean, when I was 17, I started out, they're called LARPs. I mean, it's a live action role play kind of deal, but think of it like Dungeons and Dragons without paper. You're still playing the character, you're there in a costume, but you're also just beating your friends in an open field combat environment. Full contact, full speed, full force, no, soft taps or, anything like that. I mean, it was my first few times out there, like I left with like bloody knuckles and like a broken nose and, scuffed up knees, torn clothing. Like I had a blast.
It sounds brilliant. Just so gladiator LARPing, someone said in chat, that sounds pretty accurate then.
I mean, again, much like Dungeons and Dragons, I mean, there were classes, people set up dungeons like with props and like really intricate design work actually, depending on how much money they wanted to funnel into it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, I played a cleric for years, which meant I restricted myself to only hitting people with blunt weapons. And it was really funny because I found a way to make a basically field legal, and I say safe in quotations because, I could send you in with bruised ribs or actually cracked ribs in one case. Basically a field legal baseball bat that I would swing one-handed. And, there were times where you'd lift people off their feet and throw them a few feet off. And, like I said, it gets really brutal. They actually made a documentary about it way back when. And while all the players didn't care for the documentary because they basically went out of their way to make, the players seem like bad, lonely, basement-dwelling degenerates, most of the people who play a game like that, they're established adults with, like, houses and bills, and it's just a side hobby. It's like going to play, footy or, baseball or whatever on the weekend. It's just different.
Oh, it's like anything. I think it's a horrible way to judge someone, because I used to go down way back years ago to like a Warhammer store, and this guy would come in with a $3,000-4,000 painted army in a seriously large like suitcase, and like he was married with kids, and when you talk to him, you would never have believed that this is how he would spend like a Saturday evening, and it was, you know.
Yep.
I passed no judgment. I was like, here, you like what you like.
Yeah. Like in that same vein, I look back on the amount of money I sunk into, upgrading my armor over the years, and, building out new weapons and doing, and it sounds wild, but we did what was essentially like testing and development on improving our gear, make weapons lighter, but keep them safe, have the same impact. My very first weapon probably weighed like 2 pounds. And by the time I stopped playing, I think my heaviest weapon was, 6 ounces?
Hot damn. Compared to like, boxing gloves and all, when you include ounces, that sounds like it would hurt.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it was just improving the materials that we used. For instance, that first weapon, it was cored with a PVC pipe that I had. Basically, I used a glue called DAP to seal a wooden dowel rod into the center of that pipe for like support, so it didn't break. And then you'd use like blue camping foam in layers to make it, impact safe, like a cushion, if you will, so as not to just be hitting someone with a solid rod. And then you have to put cloth over it to make it look nice. I mean, it was weighty. And years later, we were using things like carbon fiber rods because they were stronger than that old 2-pound Hulk. Lighter, faster. You could make a smaller form factor blade. You could really get into it.
That's to be fair, it's a hobby or a pastime I didn't. You're full of surprises, let's just put it that way, because I've seen some videos on it, but never looked any more into it, let alone, got some background into it. I wanted to ask something a bit more Bethesda related. Do you remember we were talking, and you said the higher ups sometimes haven't even played the game? Like, they're just sort of given the controller and went, right, and then at that point, I assume the marketing team maybe like tells them what to say or how to take over. I suppose my question is that so that's true then, or?
So, all right. Let me start by giving you this example. So when I speak of a delineation between the higher ups and like the ground team, if I'm talking about ground team, that's quality assurance. The QA team were the guys that would take, a build a day and do their best to break it, find bugs, find new bugs, find old bugs that got missed, make sure old bugs didn't come back. And when you did, with any title, there would be a race. And it was partially a pride thing, but the development team upstairs would race the QA team to beat the game from start to finish. They'd start at the same time. And the QA team would smoke the development team every single time because they actually knew every nuance of the game. They knew how it all connected. But the development team didn't have that same insight.
So they were
So when you start going...
Yeah?
Well, when you start going above the development team, because development teams, those are the guys that do art, world mapping.
I was going to say, it's like putting the sound guy up against the QA person. The sound guy would just get demolished. Like what, that's all he would have focused on would have been the sound. Maybe seeing a bit of the game.
Exactly. Yep.
Fair enough.
The marketing guys didn't necessarily give scripts on everything. And if they did, what they were giving, in some cases, actually came from QA.
That's crazy. A team dedicated to do nothing but break the game and play the game. Seems like a good... Do you wish you were on the QA? Or wait, sorry, Fudge, I forget that I should ask this. So what did you do then? yourself at Bethesda?
I'll never tell you. Never, ever.
Because I think we
But-
asked you during the stream, but just in case anyone doesn't know.
Oh yeah, no, I'll never tell you.
Oh,
Never ever.
I thought you did. You not tell us? I thought you were. Oh, you told us what you worked on. You didn't say what you were doing.
Yep.
Oh, love a bit of secrecy.
And that's part of maintaining my anonymities.
That makes because if you said exactly your role, someone would just look it up, and then Stinky would have your IMDb.
Exactly.
See, there's method to the madness here.
Yeah, no, much like every movie, every single person and their roles are listed in the credits.
So if you say a specific one, fair enough.
Actually, you know what? That's not even entirely true. If you were in the first wave of working on a game, your name's in the credits. But if they brought you in later from other products, the credits scene, that video was finished and compiled before the rest of the game.
Huh? Really?
So there are people that worked on those games that are never credited.
That would be a bit sickening, like. You were there for
Yeah,
a good
I worked
bit?
on 6 titles or so at Bethesda. I'm credited on 2.
Because they were already in development when you came along.
Exactly, because they'll reposition bodies when they're not needed on a particular project for, either they're on a pause or they need to get another section ready or the product is finished. Like when Fallout 4 went release, they kept like a third of the team to work on DLCs, and they split them off. So several of them were in development at the same time.
Huh. You would have thought they
Yeah.
were, I would have thought one was made, they moved on, to keep continuity and, everyone in the loop. But I guess that makes sense as to why the DLCs never cross over in many ways.
Yep. Compartmentalization is key even in the gaming industry.
Huh.
Because, I knew when Dishonored 2 was being worked on. The guys playing that game and working on it, they were across the room from me. I never looked at their screens. They never talked about it. But I knew what they were working on.
Yeah, like that meme, I know, but I can't prove it, but I know.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the thing. You were not supposed to talk to people outside of your team about your project.
Was that an unwritten rule or written into like an NDA?
Oh, that's written.
Ah.
Management would specifically tell, if they heard you talking to another team about your project, like casual stuff, yeah, I did this and it was dumb, casual stuff was fine. If they heard you talking about mechanics and that kind of stuff, they'd kind of hush you and push you back to your corner.
Ooh, so it's a bit of a clinical environment then. Not as obviously a lot of people think the gaming industry is all sunshine and rainbows and everyone's having a laugh, at all times. But I'm guessing there is moments where it's just full lock in.
You got to be locked in that industry, and it's one of those situations where I hate to compare it to this, but it's kind of like the only difference between having a security clearance and the different levels of clearance for the government or the military is the fact that the gaming industry doesn't have licensed clearances. But everything inside of a game production company is essentially the same as having a top secret, secure, compartmentalized information clearance. Everybody is supposed to keep their info to their block. And that's to control what gets out and what doesn't. And if it does get out, it's so they can nip it in the bud very quickly.
So I've two questions here for you. One, do you use an alias for acting and voice acting? Jeanette wants to know.
Yes.
Yes, that makes sense. Walter says,
I use a
can you do
I use a suit.
Yep.
I definitely use a pseudonym.
Is it Fudge?
No. No, it is not.
Oh, you're well versed in this. The other one is, can you do a Maine accent? I don't know what a Maine accent sounds like.
Maine?
Maine, that's what I'm reading.
Like M-A-I-N-E?
Yeah.
Like the state?
Walter's asking, can you do a Maine accent, please? He said
The
politely.
only people I know from Maine don't sound that dissimilar from me.
Really? Well, there you go.
Yeah, like I know a few people from Maine, and they don't have like a crazy specific accent that I've ever heard.
Fair enough. Jeff's wondering how frustrating was it for a game to let a game go out with bugs and glitches in it, and who's really the biggest reason for that?
Okay. So the biggest frustration is that you know you've found it, and you know that it's there, and you know it's been reported, and you know it's been delivered. And when it comes down to it, you really can't let things like that get to you, because at the end of the day, you're still getting paid the same amount no matter what gets released. It would be more frustrating for me, for instance, like to find a thing that's catastrophically bad. So let me back the fun train into the station real quick. And most of you may not know this, and some of you may. So I mean, don't feel offended when I go through this rigmarole. Every game that you ever see on a console has to pass a third-party certification. Not for PC, though. Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, all your big console companies have a certification that you have to pass. Kind of like a health inspection. If your game has too many of X, Y, and Z really bad bugs, it fails. And it's really bad to fail these because it costs a lot of money and time. Perfect example. I don't know if the price has increased since then, but an Xbox certification is $50,000.
Oof.
Yeah. So the big bugs you always had to, and this is why I always bring up triage, they would prioritize eliminating bugs that caused a crash or a break in the golden path. The golden path is the straight line from the start of a game to the conclusion and credit sequence of a game. So when you find really bad bugs, they're never going to be an A-class bug unless they're a crash or a path break. So like the fight with Kellogg, for instance. One of the earliest Class A bugs I ever found was that if you killed Kellogg by shooting him in the head, the next set of dialogue would never happen, and you could not loot his body for the quest item. Finding things like those was always very stressful, because then you'd have to recreate it.
And if
If you
it
recreated it,
if it only happened once to you and you knew that it could happen, but you tried again and it didn't, it's like, what factored into that? Is that what you mean?
yeah. Like, production always needs evidence of reproducibility. And that includes, like, you're streaming right now. Do you record to your PC as well?
Used to. I don't do anymore. Just use the VODs from Twitch, but...
Okay. So, whenever anyone's doing any production work, they're recording what they're doing actively. The whole time, audio and visual. And that's so if something bad happens, you can go back, look at what you've recorded, cut it, and then upload it to whatever platform you're using for your bugs. Once you've found it, you report it, whether or not you can reproduce it, because the opportunity is there that it's going to happen. And if it does, it's really bad. I don't know how many of you remember the release of Fallout 3's DLC, The Pit.
I wasn't around at that point. I actually joined Fallout 2 or 3 years before Fallout 4. So.
Okay.
But
when The Pit was released, they released a corrupted file. So for 3 days after release of The Pit, 50% of the assets were missing.
Ooh.
Including area transitions, in-game items, whole NPCs, quest givers, that kind of thing. Like, it can break a game. The amount of refunds that happened on account of that was catastrophic. But then they fixed it and people got it back, so it wasn't as big a deal. But going back to the certification, if you fail certification, they give you a list of what's broken. And while you can continue, if you fix those things and you report that you fixed those things, you pay for certification again, and they just hammer those things instead of going after the whole product.
Okay.
It is impossible to do a uniform certification on PC because very few PC builds are identical.
Oh, from CPU to GPU to even your hard drive and all, there's no... it really is like pot luck when you go searching on like Reddit or online for a problem, and it's like they state their PC build, and it's like, well, who else is ever going to have your exact PC build?
It doesn't even just come down to the hardware, man. Think about chipset drivers, BIOS version. You know, did you update your graphics card this year? Like, everybody's got something crazy different going on. Like, hell, I still haven't updated my chipset. I've had my machine for like 4 years. Just doesn't need it.
So of two
It's
other...
always...
Oh, sorry, go on, Fudge.
It's always frustrating in one way or another during that whole procedure. But the big thing is, like, you can't let it affect you personally, because it's... By and large, everyone's part of a big team during production, and it's not your fault. Unless you're just plain negligent and lazy, then it's your fault, and you goofed it. And that's, you know, a thing you have to live with. That's shame forever.
Did you work on the Evil Within, by any chance?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did? Oh, there you go, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Can you say all the titles that you worked on? Just even if you laid your hand on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can. I worked on Fallout. Well, okay, let's go in order. Wolfenstein: The Old Blood was my first title, and I really enjoyed that because who doesn't love killing Nazis?
I've yet to play it, but I can't wait.
Brother, I will buy you that game so you can play it.
Oh, you don't have to do that, Fudge, but I will certainly, I will give you a heads up when we do it.
I don't have to do anything, Tom. I'm going to buy you that game so you can enjoy it. After that, I worked on the definitive edition of Dishonored. After that, it was The Evil Within and 2 of the DLCs. Now, keep in mind, by that point, The Evil Within, like the main title, that had already been released.
Okay.
That was already out. Like, I actually played that in my house before I worked for Bethesda. And ironically, when I was playing it at home, I didn't like it. But by the time I was done working there, I loved it, so it was kind of wild. And the reason that I was working on the main title in tandem with the DLCs, when you introduce a DLC to a title, you have to make sure that everything still works. Because a DLC can drastically mess with the main title for any number of reasons. You know, code mismatch, or an item breaks a certain thing, or, you know, you have to make sure everything goes. So, like...
Is that why a lot of DLCs are kind of pushed, like, off-map? Why not a lot of them, like, integrate into it?
In some cases. There's some DLCs, or even just patches, where they add content that just happen in the middle of the world. Like, when they did the big update for Fallout 4 right in the face of Fallout London,
yep,
they added a bunch of content. And, you know, I'll admit, I fired the game up just to see what they added. And I, you know, got interrupted by, God, I don't even remember what the NPC was. He had some kind of crazy, like, electro or ion gun or something like that. And I fired it a couple times and it killed me. And I was like, okay, I'm good. And uninstalled.
Oh, yes, that's the Best of 3, I think it's called. And you get the Tesla cannon.
That's what it was, Tesla cannon. Yeah, when you do DLC testing, especially if it integrates with, you know, your main map area, you absolutely have to hammer testing all over again. It's like starting from scratch. Like, you have to... the Tesla cannon itself is a perfect example, because that thing created a blast wave, depending on how you fired it. You know, if you fire it in a certain area around certain props or certain NPCs, or, hell, certain buildings, what does it blow away? What does it break? What does it cause to, you know, not behave correctly? And so with the Evil Within, you know, we played the main title through to make sure everything was still good for the newest patch. You would install DLC 1, you would play the whole thing through. You know, the main title, then the DLC. Then you would uninstall DLC 1, install DLC 2, rinse and repeat. And then you would do it with different combinations of the DLCs installed.
That's a bit rigorous.
So, like, oh, by the time I was done working on it, I'd probably played through The Evil Within and all of its DLCs close to 50 times. Maybe more, even, actually. But, you know, you have to find ways to make it less tedious by trying new things. You know, how does this behave if I do this? How can I win by doing only this? You know.
So,
what was it? There was a certain kind of enemy in Wolfenstein, the Old Blood, that on the highest difficulty you were not supposed to be able to kill with melee weapons, because it was considered too difficult by the devs upstairs. They didn't think you could do it. And then I did it, and then they just gave it God mode on release. Like, they literally changed the coding of the NPC to receive 0 damage for melee weapons.
Did you do that out of spite, or did you do that, like, because you knew you could?
Oh, dude, I do all things through spite, which fuels me. Yeah, no, if you tell me it's impossible to do a thing in a game, I'm gonna try and do that thing for a good long while before I give up or succeed.
But you sound very much like myself when you're told, no, that won't work, that's stupid, and you're like, do you know what? Just because you've said that, I have a newfound love to try this. Oh, life's better when you think
like,
of
seriously,
like that.
Yeah, no, you gotta give things a go. If you just, you know, if you really just kind of give up without giving it a shot, I mean, you're gonna kick yourself later.
So see,
it's always worth putting in effort.
So see, for Fallout 4, Fudge, someone asked, like, what would be an ideal RPG? Was there any aspects to Fallout 4, for example, you were like, why on earth is this in it?
Not really. There are very few things about any title where I look at it and think to myself, man, this shouldn't be here.
Well,
Like-
suppose changing the question then, but do you have anything that would have made Fallout 4 better in your opinion?
I could think of a few things easily, and some of them are far-fetched and some of them are less so.
Like a faction system?
Given how many factions were in Fallout 4, the system didn't really feel like it was a need, and the lack of it didn't really feel like a loss to me.
Oh, fair enough.
I can see how having one would have made it better in some aspects, because at the culmination of it all, you can do almost the entire quest line of every faction before you have to choose a side. Like, you can, and that's fine. But I don't feel some sense of loss for not having had it. What I would like would be a departure from the same factions every time. It's part of why I thought the railroad was really cool.
How do you think they could have went about that, or how do you think you could have implemented that? Just out of curiosity.
Okay, so the Brotherhood of Steel has been a constant in pretty much every Fallout title. Like, almost everyone.
Yep.
In some capacity, they have been present. I could do without it. Like, people want to see more Enclave. I have reasons for thinking adding more Enclave would be bad. But, I would also have been okay if the Enclave was present and the Brotherhood of Steel was not. I would have been okay with, I was okay with the Institute, because honestly, synths hadn't been a presence in Fallout. Like, they were barely a presence in 3. Like, barely.
More just a background mention of a quest you had no idea, had no impact in the world.
If I remember correctly, there was a body with a synth component in it. I may be misremembering, but I feel like around Rivet City...
Is it not one of the security guys? I think you are right. One of the security guys you can kill, and he's... Like, was it not Harkin? And he was a synth? I could be wrong in that. I suppose someone can correct me.
It's been so long since I've played 3. I just remember Rivet City was nearby, and that it was just a subtle nod to, hey, that guy's a synth. Like, it wasn't like a big thing. But, having the synths was really cool. Having the synth presence in Far Harbor, also really cool to me. I mean, I thought that was good. And then, of course, having the Brotherhood of Steel as like the foil to that seems like it made sense.
Because the Enclave, the Brotherhood had more of a reason to hate the technology as opposed to the Enclave, who would probably have just tried to capture them or something.
And you know what? That would have been a really cool thing too.
Yeah, I do find it amazing that they, like, it's not even, the Enclave are not even, to my knowledge, mentioned. Like, for such a departure, being the big baddie in Fallout 3, and even being part of Fallout New Vegas, the remnants in New Vegas was, at least they got a nod, and then in this, it's, like, absence.
Yeah. Yeah, and it did feel weird, but again, at the same time, I mean, the Enclave is supposed to be remnants of the United States government. Like, it made sense for them to be in DC. I don't know that it would have made sense for them to be in the Commonwealth.
That's fair enough.
But again, Boston's got, its very big historical relevance when it comes to the American government. Mostly tea related.
tea floating in the harbor.
Yeah. But like,
you'll love this. You'll love this next one.
Yeah, go on.
Stinky asked, "What do you think of romance and companions, and why do you think so many people's against it?"
It's a role-playing game. I see no reason why your character shouldn't have a romance option. It would actually be kind of weird to me if it didn't.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Do you think it matters whether or not it adds to their own personal storyline?
I think it's better if it does.
Well, yeah.
Like, okay. Having the options to romance characters, albeit some of them being robots, a little bizarre. Like, I don't know. I know some people feel kind of weird about romancing NPCs, but that's their own personal hangups, man. I mean, if they're thinking that deep into it, you know, they probably have some other stuff they really need to unpack anyway.
Especially if they go to really complain about it and do posts on social media.
Oh, well, you know, it's the internet. Tom, people are always going to complain on social media about something.
Well, to be perfectly honest, Fudge, not that I didn't believe you, but I had a natural, you know, is this person, you know, telling the truth? You know, like anything. We had
some random Yahoo in the internet.
We had someone that voiced, big voice actor, came onto our TikTok, was chatting away to me, and on my end, I can't see usernames, you know, as in I can't click in or see that they're verified, and I remember sitting saying to him, "Oh yeah, I'm sure you are," you know, because I googled it and it was like, this person's millions of followers. I clicked on his profile after the stream and it was them. That made me realize, you know, sometimes on the internet you can be skeptical, but to a point. But you said way too much for me to not believe. You know, there was just things you said, and I'm like, nah, there's not. Even if someone was pretending or trolling, that you wouldn't have that level of knowledge. So, you convinced me.
The little details, man. You got to let them out of your soul sometimes.
How are you treated in other like chats that you've joined? Like, do you? Is it normally very receptive, or have you had ones that just kind of? I know some are so focused on the streamer that it wouldn't really matter who you were if you came in.
You know what the radio needs?
More
dancing music.
Hold on one second.
Of that creepy waltz stuff.
Okay, that's much better.
Holy upgrade.
Yeah, a little bit. Like I said, sure, Mike. There have definitely been some situations where chats have either been wholly skeptical or somewhat receptive or completely dismissive, and again, it's definitely one of those things where it's like, I'm not going to let that negatively get to me. I came to show support, and you know. And then there's some people who are just plain out hostile, and it's like, no, you're not, go away, blah blah blah.
I was gonna say, I'm amazed that you wouldn't have encountered that. You know, I would have been more shocked. But then again, to be fair, in my knowledge of streaming, as long as we have, no one's ever come in and even attempted to say that. You know, I grew up with my dad works at Microsoft and all, and every voice note I ever received. But you know, when you trolled someone, but nah. That makes sense. That some chats would just be hostile.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna happen. I mean, it's, you know, you got to understand, people will say anything they want on the internet and just be like, haha, yeah, no, it's true because I said it. No, well, not necessarily there, sunshine. It's you know, brave new world of information not being believable out there. But then you get, you know, the random goofball like myself who shows up. It's like, hey, here's my receipts.
And then they're like, oh. I mean, to be fair, I think it says a lot more on the community and how you're treated before you have to prove it.
True. Very true.
You know, like, we welcome everyone. It wouldn't have mattered if we were skeptical. You know, my skepticism's just always been sort of naturally high anyway. But, you know, I give everyone a chance. It's like, oh, you said it like this, and there's no way anyone else would have just pulled... You know, not many people would just pull that out of thin air. And even if they did, like, you know, the chances of you accepting that they are who they say they are, you know, normally right. I read it on the internet, therefore it must be true, says Bullfrog.
Oh, yeah.
Quote by Abraham Lincoln. Gotta love those memes. But yeah, man, is there anything... I've been bombarding you with questions. Is there anything, you know, you would like to talk about regarding Fallout, or anything that, you know, give you the floor? Supposed to be.
I mean, listen, man, I'm an open book. There's not a lot going on up there after a day at work. So, like, if you want to fire off questions, the neurons will fire. But overall, right now, I'm kind of brain dead. Though I will tell you, I want to see you play Chronos real bad, actually.
Well, the good news is I didn't realize it because I'm relatively new to this whole streaming and doing this. You know, I normally just recorded, posted, and forgot. You know, that sort of thing. Yeah. But I didn't realize when you sign up for, like, you know, like you connect your socials and they give you like a free key, and they're like, we need you to link us like an hour at least of content of you playing our
they
game.
have expectations. For sure.
And don't get me wrong, I don't know why I walked in not believing that. Or not believing that. I didn't realize when I clicked it, used the key, and the moment I used the key, it gave me a wee nudge. It was just like, hey, you have until I think it's like the 29th of October or something, to produce at least an hour, link it, do all these extra details and all. And I was like, ooh. Didn't know that, but, you know, I suppose there's nothing in life like a free lunch. So Chronos and that Dune Awakening are the two that I picked or got invited to, and I was like, I'll try them both out.
Yeah.
I watched someone play Chronos in the Discord, and I jumped a few times and I wasn't even playing it, so they had a good laugh thinking, oh, well, Tom's gonna love this. And I was like, I will never play this game, it looks too scary. And then they sent me the key, and I was like, free key to a game. And then I was like, oh, I have a couple of weeks to do something for this. But it's just jump scares. Horror games don't bother me, but see jump scares, it's just... It's one of those when you're very self-conscious, you know, of like reacting on stream, and everyone's like, reactions are golden, and I'm like, I know, but it's still like sort of departing the fact that I know I make myself look like a bit of a fool, but isn't that entertainment?
Yeah, kind of.
So how have you found streaming? Like, when you stream yourself, do you know, do you ever mention what do you do, or do you keep it very like what's the word?
Hush hush.
Yeah, hush hush. I mean, like, you know, like pirate software, you know, those running jokes of I worked at Blizzard. Like, I'm gonna guess you, or would you mention that you worked with Bethesda? Or would you just...
I mean, I've mentioned it before, but it's not like you know, a key talking point by any means.
That's just like what, like really cool lore that the chat just happens to find out.
Well, okay. I've used it for marketing before, but only for like a charity thing.
Well, that's cool.
So, like,
you ever done anything with Fallout for Hope?
I have not.
No.
But that's mostly because I, by and large, cannot bring myself to actually play Fallout.
That is fair.
Yeah, no, I'm so permanently burned out on Fallout right now. Maybe when a new title comes out, I'll pick it up. But overall, I'm like, I don't know, man.
That's fair enough.
And that's not to disparage anyone else's enjoyment of it. I mean, please enjoy it. We worked so hard.
It gave me a career, so I suppose I am... Like, some people are like, oh, you're shilling for them. I'm like, here, you know, I try to give my honest opinion and not the shill, but I'm like, if I'm sounding positive, it's like I do have that little, you know, It's like you did get your career out of this, buddy.
Hey, man, I'm happy for you. That's awesome.
Although
Yeah, no, it's just I've played more of Fallout 4 than most people ever will. You know, outside of people playing it professional like yourself. But like I can't touch it. I tried. I truly did.
well, here the whole point of gaming's an escape, something to enjoy, and you know, if you don't enjoy it, then isn't that the first the first step of you probably shouldn't play it? Kind of like Elden Ring. Like I didn't mind it, but it's just it. You know, for me, if a game is way too difficult, that's like a non-starter for me. You know, like Fallout, I can up it to be difficult, but it'll never be something that, you know, with a bit of strategy and all, you couldn't get into. But with Elden Ring, see when it's just way too hard. And some people can say to me, "Oh, you can learn to master and all." I'm like, listen, I have other things to be playing.
Exactly. Hold on, let me field some questions here.
Yeah.
Was there ever a possibility that Fallout 4 would have fishing? Like, not that I recall. I don't think anyone really ever discussed it like that. Like, fishing, like just standing there with a rod?
Get me out of here.
The way you
'Cause
say,
I'm pretty
the,
sure
the
there's
way you say
like
that, well, 76, that's like a whole big thing to it now.
No, I mean, like, if you enjoy that, by all means, it's just like, yeah, no, it's, yeah, I don't think so, but I'm pretty sure there's a mod for that.
I think there's a mod for near everything for Fallout 4 these days.
That's true. Let's see, there was another one. Did you work on 76? Okay, so Fallout 76 was actually worked on by a completely separate company. Bethesda Online Studios operated out of another building. Yeah, I saw the face there, Tom, the confusion face.
No,
So-
only because I have been like fed who these staff members were, and I'm living a lie because I assumed they were like Fallout 4 devs, and now I'm realizing
okay,
that they mightn't be.
In some cases, there was some cross-contamination between staff. But like Elder Scrolls Online, Fallout 76, ZeniMax Media had a large amount of companies under its umbrella. You had Tango Games, Machine Games, Bethesda Game Studios, Bethesda Software, or Softworks rather. Like just a whole list. And while Fallout 4 was being worked on under the main building by Bethesda Game Studios, Elder Scrolls Online was working in a building across the street. And we'd see them every once in a while when they came over to get lunch from the cafeteria in the main building.
But obviously they couldn't
But
talk to you,
again-
so
Not really. I mean, they didn't even technically speaking, they worked for a different company. But the ZeniMax headquarters is where Bethesda Game Studios was. Like a sub-company within the umbrella company. And when they transitioned off of that project, 76 was also under production, so I did not work on that title, technically.
was Elder Scrolls 6 even like, was it even greenlit when you left? I know you.
No comment?
Oh, I forgot about that bit. What is it? Can't knock someone for trying. Is it not a quagmire though of NDAs? Like, how do you keep track of what you know you can and cannot say?
By and large, once it's released, you can talk.
Oh, that's fair enough.
That's really, like, there are some stipulations to that, like you can't talk about like specific procedures. But once it, like you couldn't talk about the game. Like, you remember the Fallout 4 media blitz that happened where it was just like, please stand by?
Yeah.
People knew I worked there. People guessed what I was working on. I never said a word. But when we were given a date for when we were allowed to media blitz, And the only media blitz we were really allowed to do was to post the video of Please Stand By. And of course, the minute I post that, everyone knows. You know, everybody knows what I've been working on when I post that.
I had the first. There was only like a day or two. I don't know if you were in the chat. Fallout London's dev team messaged me about their new DLC coming out and all the fixes, and I had to read that message and look up at my camera as the big bright all caps of "Do not tell anybody," and I was like, "Ooh, I just found out some great news." And then I looked at that bit and I was like, "Ooh, I can't say anymore. That's a close save."
There you go.
So I know for future to read the whole message if I ever get a dev team messaging me before I open my mouth, because then everyone was like, what is it? And when someone thought it was Fallout London, I was like, it'd be good to hear something in Fallout London, to deflect. I don't think they were too displeased with me though, so. But yes, go on with the media blitz. People did 1+1 with you, it's like, that must be Fallout.
It was a fair assumption to guess that I had been working on Fallout based off that. That screen right there, actually, the Please Stand By screen.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was a very fair assumption for people to make. I still wasn't allowed to tell people. Like, I couldn't say anything. Company standard was that you were allowed to say please stand by as a response. And nothing else.
Is it frustrating? Or like what's the emotion?
It was funny.
Because you had everyone just by the
like it almost felt like bullying because, you were holding all of the cards. You had all the information and you were holding it above their head without actively maliciously doing it. Like, it was funny to watch people demand knowledge. Like, tell me. It's like, I can't. Please stand by. I'd get DMs. I'd wake up to DMs in the morning at 6, 7 a.m., asking if this, that, and the other's in the game. And I would just hit him with a please stand by text and go back to sleep or get up.
Oh, that must have been a fantastic time for you.
Oh, it's hilarious. Now, there were times where some people would get a little overzealous and it would border on,
harassment?
Yeah, actually. Yes, it would.
Now, are these friends or are these just people maybe you met in your life or?
Mostly friends, some acquaintances. I definitely got a lot of, my boyfriend really loves Fallout. Can you please tell me something to tell him? And I'm like, nor.
What difference does that make to me? It's like, no, tell him to wait like everyone else.
It's like I'm sorry that your boyfriend is really excited for the game. I'm happy he's really excited. Tell him to please stand by, I guess.
They're currently the ongoing joke within the creator circle is they put out there recently about Fallout Day. And every single comment is there a remaster? Otherwise, a lot of people are like, otherwise, why is all this fanfare being made? And in the creator circle, the joke is, it's like, I think people want remasters. It's getting to that sort of point where you think that's what the people want. And every single year, their comment section is nothing but, is there a new title or remaster coming? And I know we got that. Do you remember that leaked document that was all over the internet about what Bethesda's roadmap was? And it was like Oblivion remaster, Fallout 3 remaster, and then some project name. And the internet kind of tracked it down that is... It's an accurate roadmap, because obviously we got Oblivion. So the logic is, well, they said the next year after that was going to be the remaster, but COVID kind of, slowed everything down.
COVID made development really, really hard. And the one thing that you were never allowed to do is take product home. Like, the only time I ever saw people allowed to take mid-development product home was the Fallout companion app. No, actually, it wasn't the companion app. It was Fallout Shelter. The phone game.
Yeah.
That was later ported to PC. people were given access to a file on a corporate server that allowed them to download an APK for the game. And the version that they were downloading also gave them a bunch of redeemable like loot boxes. So the microtransactions essentially.
Yeah.
But that is the only time that I worked there that people were allowed to take home work product. When COVID happened, people were given development kits to take home. They would download vertical slices on their home internet connected to a secure VPN using their dev kits. Like it was crazy.
That would have been some
Because
adaption for people.
You know, it was. And they made it work. But it definitely slowed things down a lot because one of the things that you rely upon in the game dev environment is simply the ability to stand up and shout, "Has anyone seen this? Does anyone know about this? Can anyone help me reproduce this with these parameters?" Like, you have to have that full cooperation from a team on any level. Like, waiting for someone to get back to you in an email you sent 6 hours prior in that environment is like, it's a killer.
I would certainly slow it down. It's like you can just walk over to them in real life and say, hey. Or I assume the offices were the very large offices you worked in, or?
Oh, huge.
Huge.
Yeah, huge. Huge. Yeah, like every part of it. Like the QA section in the basement was an entire like corporate office building sized furnished basement, which is row after row of systems and people like shoulder to shoulder working. The development section upstairs was like cubicle farms. Not like standard like office space, tight confines, depression cubicle farms, but like, you know, Art Nouveau riche kind of stuff. Like, you know, the art studio looked like, you know, a tattoo artist environment with like sketches on the walls and tableaus and, you know, blueprints, and like it was wild. It was good stuff. Really really good environments with a lot of people collaborating at every level.
And it's funny, back in like Fallout 3's release, it was all like celebrities were brought in for the launch party. I remember reading up on how mad that launch party was. And nowadays you wouldn't really have a celebrity anywhere near something like that. Although, here, that's a good question. What do you think of the show?
The show is excellent.
Oh, so you like the show then? Ah, that's nice.
I love the show.
I'm glad to hear
the show. I don't understand the hate that the show gets, honestly. I mean, there are a couple of things that I look at in the show that I see as being a little maybe just negligent or plot holy, but it's not like, oh, show's so bad because XYZ things, not lore accurate. Shush. just shush.
Like we've
so
had
much.
it. For me, I let people have their opinion. You know, I'm a believer in, you know, you can say whatever you want. You know, if you don't like it, I'm not going to stop you voicing it.
Yeah.
And my thing is, it's like, if you're going to be like persistent, very aggressive, and just bringing the general mood down, I'm like, all right, you know, I need to say something. But at the end of the day, someone came into the chat, like a couple of weeks into my first ever streams, and all my success on YouTube was a result of the TV show. Like, my numbers, I went from a 10k channel to 120k in the space of, you know, a year of the TV show. And it was only in them couple of months. And someone joined, was like, oh, the TV show's awful, they did this, and really went in depth. And I said to them, but, you know, you're watching me, and you enjoy watching me? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, I wouldn't be here. Oh, you'd have made it. I says, well, I love that, you know, vote of confidence that I would have without the TV show. I'm like, but the influx of millions upon millions into this sphere made a difference. You know, you're going to get more content. You're going to get more of everything. They're going to now gear more towards Fallout because of the show. Like, the positives are nearly unlimited, and they're like, but I'm from the OG Fallout, and I want it to be more like that. I says, well, I understand that you want it to be more like that, but, you know, there is a certain give to, you know, to make something more for mass market, there, you know, a sacrifice had to be paid. And I'm like, you know, and I try to explain it, but it's impossible to get through to some people.
That's exactly it, though. You said it. You said it right, nail on the head. They're catering to everyone, not just the super fans. Like, yeah, they're giving super fans the content that they want and adding like little like ha-has here that only someone who's like super into Fallout lore would know. But they're creating a product that's available and understandable to people who don't know the game. And those people who didn't know the game, some of them go and find Fallout content like yours, or some of them pick up a game that they never would have bought to try it because they want more of it. And that is the goal, is to make people hungry for it. Like, I'm going to give you a perfect example, all right?
Yeah.
My mother, my dear, sweet, little old Italian mother, doesn't know Fallout, okay? She doesn't know anything about the games. She was never, you know, like the old lady tries out gamer. Like, she played Bejeweled on my Game Gear back in the 90s.
Yep.
She understands the show. She comprehends the content. She can consume it, cycle it around in her brain, and understand what is happening without needing the exposition of 20 years of video games. And that's the goal. To make fans of people who have never consumed the product. And that's why it's so successful, because when they wrote and directed it, they made it available to any random jack who would want it. Because you can watch the show and not understand much of anything going on, but they give you the exposition about what happened back in the day. You know, going through Walter Goggins' character's eyes.
Yeah.
They give you an understanding of what the world is now. They even give you a piece of information by the end of season 1 that players of Fallout didn't realize for 20 years. That the vaults were never meant to be a way to keep you alive. I mean, sure, they did. Sometimes.
Majority of them were just
always
sick experiments for a capitalist system that that was going to be destroyed anyway. Like, they made their money to build them, and then that was it.
That's it. That's it.
I'll tell you a funny story about the TV show, though, that I think you'll enjoy. So, I was doing content for this, and I knew the TV show was coming. But we all know what happens to TV shows of games most of the time. They usually flop. They usually alienate, most of the fan base. You know, it can be free. It can be a lot of TV shows fail when they do adaptations. So sure. I kind of went the route of ostrich in the sand, and I kind of buried my head for that weekend because I was like, I've scheduled what was coming out. You know, I don't know how this is going to be. I don't know if it's going to be such a dumpster fire that it might negatively affect the game. So I just was like, right, I'll watch it, but I won't look online. I'll just disconnect myself. That evening, my family had watched the first episode, but because someone had work, someone had to go do something, we all went to separate rooms because we were on different episodes throughout the day, and not a single person wanted to be disturbed, because they were only on this episode. And at that point, when we all reconvened that evening, it dawned on me, oh dear, like this, I actually think this is going to be, the fact that my family, and we are a very, very different bunch of people, like most families, the fact that every single one of us, most of which did not game at all, came into the same room and went, oh my goodness, that was amazing. Like, at that point, I was like, oh, they did it, and that was a shock to me. And I was like, I wonder how the internet reacted. And I went online and went, oh, everyone seems to have loved it, and binged it. And it was incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, actually, I want to talk about video game adaptations if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
So, like, video game adaptations, you're right, they have a tendency to either be, like, amazing or just hot garbage.
Yep.
And I would like to know your opinion on a few of them.
I will give you my best estimates because I'm actually not a big consumer of TV. Just as as a disclaimer, I don't watch any TV. My chat is always completely shocked by this. I live vicariously through friends who are big gamers and they love watching TV series. But throw me what you've got, and I will give my opinion as best I can.
Okay. First and foremost, I'm going to preface this one with I have never played a single match of League of Legends.
I used
Arcane.
to I used to play League, and then I swapped to Dota, so I can say Arcane was. Now, I was out of watching League for a very, very long... You know, I was all Dota 2. But Arcane wasn't too bad. I didn't mind it. I thought it was good. But... Yeah, sorry, go on.
I feel like Arcane did exactly the same thing that Fallout did. It gave a product availability. And this is coming from... Like, my opinion on League of Legends prior was like... Okay, it's just a you know, a rail combat game. Like, where's the lore here? There's like no story. Oh God, how awful wrong I was. It's so rich.
Oh, it's incredible considering when I played it, it is mindless. You know, there's 3 lanes. You know, you've got your heroes, your items, and you just battle it out. And honestly, it is totally mindless half the time. Same with Dota 2, and then Dota followed in their footsteps. I don't actually know if I disconnected my remote or technical difficulties. Oh, I haven't turned off the AI.
Oh no.
My controller died. Oh, there we go. We're all good. Dota actually picked it up too because I think some people realize that if you can do a good adaptation, it can really open your audience. Which for a lot of games they're so saturated with their player base, and I imagine you can only milk a certain player base for so long until you do need to somehow branch out, either bring new people in or introduce a new category of people into the game. Any other video game adaptations you've watched or?
Oh yes. See, I am a mighty consumer. Lord, how I consume. And I have some unpopular opinions on things. For instance, the Super Mario Brothers movie from the 90s. Masterpiece. I said it. I'm not taking it back either.
Man will die on these hills. That's what.
Oh, this hill. I shall plant my flag.
I love Dima's Memories. I think it's an enjoyable quest. And I get absolutely roasted every time I bring it up. And it's so bad that people think I rage bait. They're like, oh, you're just looking at a reaction. I says, no. I not only completed it the first time with no guide, I play it now, and I enjoy every bit of it. And I actually take energy from the chat, seething as to how much they hate Dima's Memories. And they're like, it's so bad. Why did they add this? Nobody asked for this. I'm like, I love it. If anything, the fact that you all struggle like you do does make me think, you know, how I completed it first time was like a badge of honor now. But go on then. Let's hear your more. We love controversy here. We're not shy from it.
Okay. All right. Next unpopular opinion. The Halo TV show. I thought it was good. And I think it was good because it was refreshing. And I found it refreshing because it wasn't the same dang story. See, I love that. I enjoy an adaptation that is not a carbon copy of a game I've already beaten 20 times. Give me something fresh. Like, I was upset when I found out it got canceled after season 2. It was really starting to roll. And I was just like, come on, man. What?
So I have a fun... My best mate, Astro, the chat will know because I've played with him before. He is a Halo super fan. Like he loves Halo. It's one of his favorite franchises. And obviously, as someone, you know, I wouldn't say he's fanatical, but it was one of his favorite franchises. And I said to him, he had finished it. I says, well, how was it? Because I didn't really speak to him much about it. And he put his hand on my shoulder and he said, don't waste your time. And I sort of thought, oh, but for me, I was like, well, what's the public consensus? And when I heard it got cancelled, I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I sit on my throne of the Fallout show. Looks like it can go on for many, many seasons. And I'm like, I'm sorry all these franchises are getting chopped down, but I'm like, I wonder what happened there. And then I watched some, clips here and there of people breaking down what went wrong. And I just thought to myself, I was like, when you're looking at something like, right. And then you're just like, thank goodness I go back to my little cozy home of the Fallout series. Although it makes me wonder, what do you think, or why do you think it got cancelled? In your opinion, because obviously you enjoyed it. Can you see why they cancelled it, or are you in complete defiance that they shouldn't have?
No, I understand why they canceled it. Their primary audience base, of course, is, almost 20 some odd years of Halo fans.
Yeah.
Like, people have been playing, like, I played that game when I was in my teens, man. I mean, I've played every Halo product that has been released, even the little RTS games that they did, which were kind of bleh, but I've read Halo books. I've consumed Halo. But there are loud opinions when it comes to purists. They want a visual adaptation of the game they played. And they want it exactly the way they played it. And I understand that to a degree, but I also have to look at this with objectivity. If I watched a show based on how I played Halo, you would never get a full season. Because there's not enough of it there.
Because it would just be Master Chief rolling through everything, because as lore states, he is an absolute monster, and the Covenant call him a demon for a reason, because he just wipes out everything in his path. And I know they tried to give a human side to him, but, as you said, the majority of the fan base walked in wanting to see him roll over the top of these people. Like, no emotion, no nothing, maybe a bit of, I don't know, like Cortana fandom, and then just, walk in like a grizzly tank over them all.
Yeah.
And,
but that's the thing. Like, I say that I consumed the books for a reason. And that's because where the game is a singular side of the Master Chief, by and large, I mean, you're just exactly as you described, you just rolling through and destroying everything with very few interactions. The books give a lot of information about John, not the Master Chief, but John and the other Spartans, and the way they were produced, and the way that the government, stole them when they were children and replaced them with clones that died of, basically cellular degeneration that made it look like they got some kind of wasting disease. Like, there was so much information that you couldn't not have more. Like, the concept of the Master Chief never takes off his helmet. I'm sorry, my man needs to eat. Like, he is still a people.
But a lot of people did say it would have made more sense if, at least for the first season, it would have been like The Mandalorian, where you never actually see him take his helmet off, or it's even if it's alluded to it, it's kind of like, like a super secret. You don't know you don't know who the actor is,
Yeah.
I think they pulled it off well in The Mandalorian, because you always had that, in the very beginning tension, what does he look like? I thought that was a really good pull.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like they could have done well by having the helmet reveal at the end of season 1. Like, but there was so much going on. And the thing is, the show doesn't just focus on him. and it shouldn't, because that early on in, you know, the Covenant intervention in, you know, humanity's, you know, section of space, there's just too much content, and the loudest voices prevailed by panning it in the reviews. It didn't matter really how many people enjoyed it, because people are louder to complain than they are to actually say, hey, that's good.
And you need the right combination, so it's silence, you know, because like with the Fallout show, they hit the right combination of there was enough praise to drown out anyone that had serious complaints, to the point that the overall it sort of, the pendulum swung that much that, well, you know, you hear mostly positive, therefore it is positive, you know, as opposed to it's only a little bit of weight needed, and not, if there's not enough positivity on one side, you know, if a few people are like, oh, it's all right, and there's enough that are like, it's not all right, you know, they weigh a lot heavier online when it swings. At least that's the way I look at it. You know, people are hard to please.
Yeah, and of course it always depends on the person. Like, I'll fully admit, I have said a negative thing about the Fallout show.
Sacrilege.
I've said, yep, no, I've said one negative thing about the Fallout show, and that's because I just felt like it was such a blaring, you know, thing. Remember very early on when, you know, your main character, she's getting married to the fella from the other vault, and, you know, he's so handsome, and her radiation alert only goes off after he removes his suit.
Yep.
Not, you know, when all of them are there being very radiation soaked after years in the wasteland. Like, I felt like maybe some Pip Boys should have been going crazy before they started getting down in the bedroom, you know. It's an opinion.
I heard a theory on that. What if they had decontamination arches and they all went through them just before, which means when they took their suit off, the suit underneath wasn't decontaminated? I heard that one, and I was like, because that put that, not the rest of me, but I was like, all right, I'll give you that one, because I was playing Mass Fusion, the quest at the time, and you go through the decontamination arch, and I was like, well, I guess.
So there's the decontamination arch, and then there's the radiation resistance to the vault suits, or they could have popped some Rad-X or Rad-Away. There's a lot of stuff.
Who am I kidding?
I'm just going by my knowledge of how radiation actually works.
Oh, that's fair enough. I mean, if you bring in that, it's like it's all over at that point. It's like, so you drink that liquid and the radiation on your skin and all just goes away. It's like, that doesn't make a lot of sense, but okay.
Yeah, like I give it some grace because it's a TV show based on a video game, based on a dystopian nuclear apocalypse. Like, okay, give it some grace. But I mean, I'll admit it. But to counter the one negative comment, like, I have preached how good that show is. Just praised it. Strong like. And then I, you know, switch over to things like the Resident Evil movie series, and I roast it alive.
The Resident Evil movie series, I'm going to say something that you may find controversial. Although I know I can see some people in chat have alluded that this is going to, you know, get me publicly shamed. You know the series? You know the series that they did?
Which one?
The Resident Evil series that got canned very recently.
No.
There was only one season of it.
Oh, wait. Yes, I do.
I loved it. And they left it on such a cliffhanger. I was ready for it. It had a Northern Ireland actor in it, so I'm not even being biased. He fulfilled a really funny role to me, and I'm so devastated that he died. I was like, to me, the fact that they killed him off in the way that they did made me realize, you know what, when it did get canned, that was my small silver lining of, that was a funny character that you could have kept on to, because everyone talked positively about him, and I'm like, you killed him when you didn't even need to. You know, you could have pretended off screen that he survived. But I enjoyed that series, and when it got canned, I was like, oh. You know, I couldn't find enough negativity about it to sort of go, you know, that one I didn't understand myself, but I was too blinded by I enjoyed it and thought it was rather funny.
I thought it was a really good and refreshing Like I'm gonna be honest, I'd completely forgotten about that show until you just brought it up. But I do remember enjoying it and thinking, hey, this is really refreshing. To see how Umbrella actually operated and how crazy they were on this scale.
And it was all pre-outbreak, and when when the show ends, you see the tyrant Claw come out of the ground, of the lab that's on fire, and they're all seeing to it, and I'm like, oh, so the tyrant's going to come out of the rubble, and that's how the zombie outbreak's going to begin here, and I'm like, this is brilliant, because what are all the firemen and all going to do when he emerges? And I'm like, I cannot wait. And then they said they cancelled it, and I'm like, please tell me someone leaks what's going to happen, or what was meant to happen. When you're like, you're just hoping. I just need to know. But
yeah. No, and it's stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about when I say that, like, a refreshing new take on an established story, even if it's something like that, like just a precursor to all the hell that breaks loose. Like, it's something new and fresh. It's the reason I liked the Halo series, because it was still following the same kind of, bullets, but it was also giving a whole lot of, this is the story that but in a different way. Yeah. And I liked that.
My childhood fear actually was my mum put on Resident Evil Apocalypse, and I was only like 11 or 12 at the time, and it got to like the whole Nemesis thing, and he's basically been in my nightmares since then. So anytime someone there's Josh like stars, and I'm like, serious? I'm not that bad, but I did buy the latex mask of him, like the really, really high-end latex mask of Nemesis, sure. And I just wore it at Halloween once, and it was really... I'm not the height... No, I shouldn't say that. I am the height. I'm too tall for it. I look too much like him. The running joke here, Fudge, is, I'm sure you've realised, is that my height is the one thing no one actually knows. I keep telling them I'm 6 foot, and they're like, you're not. Well, you'll have to find out in New Vegas.
Hold on, I have to Google the average height of Northern Irishmen.
I go for it. I'm probably a foot taller than the average.
Average height, 5'10".
I'm a bit closer to.
You're 6'10", are you?
I wish it was 6'10". Apparently, for the right amount of money, you could go through a really painful, awful procedure to get like a couple of inches, but I don't know if I would like to be just into the 5 foot range.
Yeah, you're talking about the shin extension procedure?
It requires like 3 years of physio, $50,000, and it has about 10 different or 100 different things that could go wrong and mean that you would never walk again for the rest of your life. What a risk.
Yep.
That's I always find people that get that a bit fair enough. Like, you can do what you want with your money. I'm a believer in that, but my goodness. See about the Halo series. You're really big into Halo. Then you might know this one. Do you know Halo Wars?
Yeah, I played it.
Do you remember? And I'm sure some of the chat might remember, because I always rant and rave about this. They did a reveal trailer for it way back before the first one came out. They did a reveal, and it's a pelican flying through a canyon, and then it flies over a UNSC base. And there was soldiers doing press-ups. The buildings were built like away from each other, like a standard RTS. Yep. The graphics was amazing, and the nuke silos and all, and they were alluding that it was going to be a proper RTS where you build separate buildings. You collected a resource, and then you obviously went to war. And then it's like, it's so hard to find that trailer. I found it and I watched it again, and I'm like, it must be terrible that they put that in front of people like me. And I thought that was just unbelievable. I was so excited to play and do, and then they released what came out. I liked Halo Wars, but I was like, whoa, you raised that bar so high for me and dropped it from like the skyscraper, and it just hit the ground. I just thought, how can you do that as a reveal trailer? Like, they must have done that.
It.
Did you find it? See, when you watch that, the narration, and the narrator even alludes, it was like, oh, you're going to be able to use these nuke silos, these Marines are doing push-ups because they just, when they're left idle, they'll just do that, and the Warthog comes out of the main factory, and all the color scheme looks UNSC, and I'm like, what happened between that and release day? And I see if I ever found someone that was like in the Halo Wars dev team, I'd need to know, like, what happened? What went wrong? I'm assuming with a bit of logic, you could go, they overpromised them what it was going to run on,
Mm-hmm.
and it was someone somewhere went, listen, we can't really use a dark grey UNSC style color. It'll confuse players. We can't implement all this. This cannot be done. And they went back to the drawing board, and I'm like, that's just. I think today they could have got away with it, but
I can tell you based on watching this gameplay, and this is grain of salt statement because this is obviously development,
Yeah.
It's not optimized. And one thing I will tell you is that real-time strategy games on large scale, if they're not well optimized, it doesn't matter how good your computer is. It's going to run like dog. With no legs. Do you remember a game called Supreme Commander?
I love Supreme Commander. You're hitting all the right spots.
You had to have like the top end to actually run that game with graphics that looked good.
I had to put mine down to potato quality just to get a 2v2 match to work.
Uh-huh. And I can tell you based on looking at this game, it would have been the same thing. Also, this is screaming, we just want to play Command and Conquer.
It's screaming to me that we wanted to make a really cool cinematic video, and God love all of you that want this to look like this, because this is not practical in the slightest.
No.
The nuke design, when I heard the nuke thing, I was like, it'll be so cool, and then I'm like, I'm going to guess it would need to look like Command & Conquer, because that was, it wasn't too long after the Command & Conquer series last entry. So.
Right.
Devastated.
Yeah, I do really wish that game was better. And I've got a buddy, who I'm just going to call JK. He is the Halo superfan. Like, I don't know anyone who loves it more than this guy. He played that game religiously. He talked it up so much. He tried to get me to play it so much, and I couldn't bring myself to do it, dude. I felt so let down. I just didn't enjoy it on the same level that he did, but it was a Halo product, and he was going to love it no matter what it was. And some people are just like that. I mean, if you slap a name on it, they're just going to love it no matter what. They're going to have the rose-tinted glasses, and that's going to be it.
Yep, and it's, so for me, I can't love Tiberium Twilight. When it got added into the series, I picking up like any other Command & Conquer. I was like, there'll be base building, resource gathering, everything that I love about an RTS. And then I was like,
nope.
Wow. It's like not even that they dropped it from a height. The story was crap. And I thought, how'd you mess that story up? Why'd you do that to my boy Kane? I am devastated. This is garbage, and I've never played a game where I've just stood there and went, well, that's the franchise over for me. Despite it being my favorite all-time, still is my all-time favorite franchise, the Red Alert series. But I'm like, if they said about Red Alert 4, they'd need to go back to the drawing board for me. You a big RTS fan, or?
Oh, my brother. I just spent $200 on a collector's edition of the Homeworld Remastered yesterday. That game was released years ago.
I know. Love it.
I loved classic RTS games. Like, I loved them.
My first game was Command & Conquer, Red Alert 1. First ever game. My uncle got a computer, and he was like, oh, try this out, and I remember playing it. And when I got the remaster, I just thought, You know, when you go back to it. But what's weird is I actually don't like Command and Conquer Red Alert 1 or Command and Conquer 1 as much as I like Red Alert 2 and Tiberian Sun. You know, like the second installment's when I really got into it.
Yeah.
But they live on as my favorite franchise. And I can't, when I've said to everybody, when you hear Command and Conquer Red Alert 2 is out for a remaster, because obviously it's next in line, the moment you hear that announcement, just know like everything will be dropped for me to sit and binge that game. And I don't, you know, like the schedule will be cleaned just for that.
Oh, 100%. Like my first RTS, I think, was Age of Empires.
Oh, what a beautiful game. Do you play the definitive anymore? Or
No, I don't.
no? The definitive is... I love the camp... I play for the campaigns, you see, not the competitive. So I would play campaigns and skirmish.
I'm right there with you, man. I'm one of those guys that also plays the Call of Duty franchise for the campaign.
Call of Duty 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and Black Ops 1. They were phenomenal campaigns, but campaigns like Battlefield 6, for example, I love the multiplayer. You know, I'll probably play it for a good bit, but I've just seen loads of game companies put out the review of the campaign, and it's just garbage. You know what I mean? They're all hitting them with 3, 4, 5 out of 10. And I'm devastated because I love Battlefield Bad Company 2. You know, that storyline and all. And I'm like, do people not understand that the single player loving community didn't go anywhere? We just got a little older. You know, it's like, I don't understand, you know?
I mean, the release of those games really died off. And I hate to say it, the hero lane games like Dota killed RTS. Like your Dotas, your League of Legends, those killed RTS games because they became like the new kind of thing. And there have been a couple of games.
Well, StarCraft held the line, but what's strange is there doesn't seem to be anything. You know, game companies have tried to sort of do what StarCraft did. You know, provide a really, really good campaign. I enjoyed the StarCraft 2 campaign. The thing that annoys me the most, have you ever played, or have you played StarCraft 2?
Oh yeah.
Like they have that co-op, but the co-op cannot be played with AI. I have to play with somebody, and that is like my biggest gripe. Where I'm like, could you not just give them a terrible AI so at least I have an AI Stukov to play with? And they're like, nope, you have to play with someone. And to me, that my experience is over. Like, I've never played co-op because I'm like, nope, I like just the computer doing wee derpy things and me just playing around. You know, I play around my derpy AI ally and it's fun to me. And I'm like, why didn't you add that?
Yeah. You know, it's... There have been a few real-time strategy games that have come out in the last few years that I've really enjoyed, like Iron Harvest.
It was good. I will admit I didn't play it as much. Did you get Tempest Rising?
I didn't.
It's... Now, the audience that watched me said the music was way too loud, but in terms of graphics and playability in the campaign, I loved it. And I'm currently playing Dying Breed, which is another release that is kind of like Red Alert 1 style. In fact, it looks like a reskin of Red Alert 1, but well, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to do the dev team like that. You know, it is I feel it's kind of a base. You know, you've got the Red Rebellious faction that looks a bit like Nod, and, you know, you have the good, the supposed, like, World Defense Force that looks a bit like GDI, and I'm like, it is what it is, you know. I dig it. But what's
I want to harken back to many, many years ago. Starship Troopers had a bunch of real-time strategy games that were incredible.
Before their current iteration, because they released Starship Troopers, wasn't it, recently?
Yeah, a couple of years back it was Terran Command. Or wait, was that the title?
Yeah, I think it is Terran Command. I haven't played it now, to be fair, because again, RTSs that I like base building. Like for whatever reason, I love base building and resource collecting. When it goes into like a
Hold up.
that style where you have to call in troops, it gives me Tiberium Twilight vibes where I'm like, nah, I like to know there is a building producing a troop. I don't know why. It's just that's to me what a base building RTS is.
So, Terran Ascendancy, which was released in 2000, so we're talking 25 years ago, because I'm old. When Terran Ascendancy came out, that was my first introduction to a hero-based RTS. And I don't mean like, your focal point. It's not giving Warcraft 3 where your hero's your focal point, your strongest unit kind of deal.
Yeah.
It was, you had a squad of individuals who leveled up based on their action. And if you've ever read the book, it's a far cry from what the movie is. And this game actually had like it was weird. It had like a middle ground between the two. In the movie, which most people are familiar with, you've got hundreds and hundreds of thousands of, soldiers just storming a planet.
Yeah.
In the book, they would send a dozen dudes in mech suits to conquer a planet.
That's a strange depart.
Yeah, no, it's very different. These suits, you could jump kilometers in them. Like multiple kilometers. They had audio sensors that would pick up bugs digging, and it would sound like crackling bacon. I'm never going to forget that description in the book. Like, it was just a vast and grotesque difference, which is why Heinlein's family demanded that his name be removed from the movie, because it was just a travesty. But, the movie had its own merit, but I'm not going to get into that. The game allowed you to take those soldiers in the field, and while there wasn't much in the way of base building at all, it didn't feel like a loss, because as you advanced your soldiers in rank through combat action, they would gain access to more and more advanced mech suits. And you would still have to make strategic decisions with how do you deploy these troops, because when they died, they were dead. And you did not get them back. And so if you, couldn't finish a mission without losing one or two of them, or even more, you would start out with some brand spanking new fresh troopers. Standard gear, on foot, no suits, for whatever your next mission was. And that could make or break your playthrough.
So you had to really look after your troops then? Not like Command & Conquer Renegade, where it's like every trooper was just completely expendable and you were the only thing that mattered?
Yeah, no, you absolutely had to look after your troopers. Like, are you familiar with the term bounding?
No.
Basically a firing retreat. If you've ever seen the movie Heat, again, from the 90s, the United States Marine Corps uses the scene from Heat to train Marines on proper bounding procedure and execution, because it's textbook. You had to learn how to properly bound your troopers in this game to make sure they were not in harm's way while still giving them cover and still having them attack. Like, it was an incredible title, because you did have to take care of your troops. You couldn't just rush them into a place and expect them to survive. Mortality was on the table. And I didn't ever get that from a lot of other strategy games like that.
I think that it was departed from, they tried it once or twice, but I think, the general base building one probably took over from that. Because people just love
that
throwing...
came out in the middle of all that. It came out in the middle of all that.
So
like,
it was the one trying to be different then.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about, that was the year 2000. I mean, we're talking, when did StarCraft come out? That was the late 90s?
something like that. I think I was just born at that point.
1998.
Just born, yeah.
So, yeah, you had let's see, Kohan was out there, StarCraft was out there, Age of Empires was out there, Command and Conquer was out there, and then you had a Starship Troopers title come in with very, very different ideas on how to do a real-time strategy, which was small squad-based action in a very hostile environment. And I've tried for years to get that thing running on a modern computer, and I can't. I even tried fighting with a DOS box for like 6 months, and no matter what I did, could not get it running properly, and it broke my heart.
There's nothing worse than when I googled it there, you can see people doing like playthroughs of it. And you can sit, and it's the same for me with like Command and Conquer Generals. Like I look at people playing, doing playthroughs at like 1080p and all, and you're like, how on earth, what magic have they had, or what hoops have they jumped through to fix this? Because I cannot for the life of me get it to work. Like every time I try touching Command and Conquer Generals, like the OG one, Zero Hour works well, but the OG one I just want to play for the campaign. Every time I try to make it look like to look somewhat nice on a screen, like it just crashes, doesn't work, something breaks, and you're like,
resolution's all off.
Yep, and you're like, this person, you're almost taunted by these like OG strategy game channels where it's like, this video's 6 months old and he had it all figured out, and you're like, how did you do that? I'm too shy to ever comment, how did you do that? So that's
yeah. Like, the only time I got Terran Ascendancy to run, it was in a 3-inch by 3-inch 4:3 ratio box. I couldn't see anything. Stinky asks, do I ever read fan fiction? I mean, I've read some.
I don't think you're thinking of the one that Stinky's thinking of.
Oh, dear.
Say
Who
less.
are we shipping? Who are we shipping, Stinky? Who is it?
I've been around the NLTC so much, I just barely registered.
I'll let her tell you that in private. Do not
I'm
comment
afraid to
that.
answer, actually.
I'm like, do not say that one. I didn't say smutty. Oh, brilliant.
Listen, we're not going to sit here and pretend that they aren't, like, in the same vein half the time.
It's implied.
50 Shades of Grey started out as a Twilight fanfiction, and look how badly that went.
Paladin dancing myself. Oh, God. Hey, Stinky,
Paladin,
I've one last thing to ask you, and I'll let you go, because normally I just pop into the Discord afterwards, and I'm trying to... I've really enjoyed this, to be fair. I've never, ever attempted to interview anyone. I've been offered, but I've always been like, I have no idea what you would do. Not that... I don't feel this was too much of an interview. I think it was more just a chat. How do you think...
Yeah, pretty much.
How do you think I did in your own thoughts?
Oh, I think you did quite well. I mean, listen, it wasn't like a formal interview. It was a casual chat where interview type questions kind of happened, but, you know.
Did you expect this, or were you just coming on to say about modding and then just leave? Or did you think?
Well, I came in for a rant and it just kept going, so.
That's pretty good. I'm glad you... I know... Well, from the chat, I hope you all enjoyed it anyway. So the last thing I just wanted to say... in terms of Fallout, what's your favorite faction?
Like, favorite faction ever?
No, in Fallout 4. Like, who did you finish the game with usually, or you felt good finishing with?
Oh, I never felt good finishing with anybody.
Ah. So, like,
Yeah.
don't like any of the factions? Or there was nothing that tickled your fancy?
I had issues with every faction, and there were some things I liked about most factions, but there was... Okay. So I've said before that the Railroad was, my favorite faction, and that still rings true. I had issues with the Institute because of how they treated people. Not necessarily that they treated them with, overt hostility.
They just didn't care.
But more, yeah, like they didn't actually have a care for the well-being of people or the ramifications of replacing them and what that would mean when, their family or friends found out. I had issues with the railroad because for all their idealism, Preston Garvey needs to be shot and dragged and buried in a deep, deep hole so that I never have to hear him tell me about another settlement needing my help ever again.
He did the meme.
Cannot stress enough how much that man's voice and that one sentence gave me PTSD. Like, he gave me anxiety. The Brotherhood of Steel, I am very much against jackbooted thuggery. And in many ways, I look at the Brotherhood of Steel as a hostile fascist regime that needs to be put away. And I don't care for how they go about, just taking what other people have because they need the technology. It's theirs, blah, blah. No, it isn't. Technology should be shared. Everyone should have the opportunity to benefit from it. And the way that they are constantly actually murdering people to get their shiny baubles and doodads is ridiculous. My issue with the Enclave is that, not that they're in Fallout 4, but the Enclave, man, they have the ability to improve the life of so many people out there in the world. They have it, but they hoard it. And they don't share it. And it's greed, and it's gross, and they should know better. Because they're also, up on their high horse and pedestal saying, hey, we're better than you, but we're going to make sure that you're not.
Okay, well, we'll throw in the New Vegas factions then. Or do you have would you have knowledge of them?
Oh, I have thoughts.
Okay, well, we'll throw it to all the Fallouts. Is there any faction that did sort of you would lean to?
The Lamplighter kids.
Didn't see that one coming.
Hey, listen. If I have to be completely real, the Lamplighter community is the most altruistic society in all of Fallout. And also, possibly the most humane.
Get the 18, go to Big Town.
Hey, listen.
Do you save Big Town then? Like how to
say what?
Would you save Big Town then on your playthroughs?
Honestly, I could go either direction. But no, I mean, think about this objectively, all right? I mean, yeah, they're kind of against adults, but those kids, knowing what they know, I mean, they are surviving in an apocalypse with the knowledge, the mentality, and the kindness of children. And they take care of each other. Even when they don't have much. And I feel like if any of the factions of Fallout, not that they were like, a quote-unquote legit faction, but I feel like they were kind of a shining beacon of how society should have continued operating. In so much as, a flashlight covered in dirt can be shiny. They still had problems, but they weren't out to destroy other people for their betterment.
The Legion.
All the time. Man.
Like, if you're going to attack my boys, the Brotherhood, I at least need some sort of solace that you'll hit the Legion hard.
Okay. Caesar's Legion really... God. Do I even need to say anything about Caesar's Legion? I mean, for God's sake, slaves?
Roman Empire LARPing at its finest.
Yeah, no, like, Roman Empire LARPing with costumes that you found at a casino, taking actual, kidnapping people and taking them as hostages and slaves and selling them off for profit and not caring about just out there marauding and murdering, and they're trash.
NCR?
They mean well.
But
They're not great at
the
executing
same
it.
downfalls. Like when you hear the stories through the NPCs, the same downfalls as pre-war society. The barons more or less
Yeah.
call all the shots, and Kimball's just a big politician, like Annie. And to me, that sort of annoys me because a lot of the factions in doing is what they're gonna do. Even the Minutemen and all, like to me, they'd all eventually end up just doing exactly what they did before. Sort of a reset into it.
Okay, hold on. Gaming, it's emotional. Yes, I know it's just a game. Okay, I have thoughts. Okay, let me have my feelings on matters.
What about?
Jeez.
Did you wonder why in Fallout New Vegas there was no Caesar's Palace, but yet in the TV show, I'm sure you've seen the season 2 trailer. There is a Caesar's Palace, and I always wondered, like, surely it would have made more sense there was one, and Caesar just had a specific need to take Vegas for that, like, just one of the many reasons he would want it. I just always thought it was weird that was always eluded or omitted.
It never occurred to me before, but it's reasonable. Though it would make sense if their camp is where Caesar's Palace was, and it just collapsed over time, or they tore it down to, make way for something a little more Romanesque. Because, I mean, they got the uniforms, the outfits, the armor, the togas. They got it all from somewhere. And either they found a warehouse full of that stuff, or they just started raiding the Caesar's Palace laundry.
Would have made a wee bit of sense.
Maybe. And, there's a very real possibility that a Caesar's Palace asset was removed because of an overloaded engine.
I always found it amazing that there was multiple loading screens, but when you watch one of I don't know if it's an early teaser trailer, or it might actually just be the intro, there is no walls. Like, New Vegas was meant to be open, the strip was meant to be open, there was not meant to be this giant wall around it. Which you can even tell when you're going around. When I was doing my series looking around the map, you're like, you can tell this was placed in, because in their head there was like, well, we need a divider here. Get the scrap metal, we need a wall here because this is not going to be open.
Yep.
Is that the same as Skyrim then? The reason, obviously, why you can't just walk into the cities, for the same engine reasons.
Yeah, and okay, so part of it is also to maintain, like, you remember how I was talking about optimization?
Yeah.
If you put too many assets in an open world and then you run it on a console, it's just going to chug. Big open world games, by and large, need that compartmentalization so that they can offer better processing to every system. And so even when they're producing a game with consoles in mind, they're also producing that same game with PC in mind so that they can have a better ratio of performance. So, like, there are games now that are coming out that are FPS locked. There's two reasons for that. One of those reasons is to make sure the game runs at a steady frame rate. The other one is this, and a lot of people don't realize this until it's too late. If you're running a monstrosity of a computer and you're playing a game that's not FPS locked, sure, everybody thinks getting 1,000 frames a second is great. But what they don't realize is that actually makes your performance worse and cause your game to crash and bug and just have lag. It's terrible. Frame rate locking is good.
I got a new PC and it is a monster, and it's hooked up to the streaming PC. So now the monster PC doesn't even have a limitation to needing to stream or record, or it gets to do what it does. My problem is I am playing right now at 1440p and it is locked at 60, and it cannot be unlocked, because if I unlock it, I can run halfway across the map in half a second because of the frames. It actually, Fallout and many other games, the moment you go above 60, everything breaks. Everything.
Yep. Everything.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's definitely frame rate locking good, friends. Please frame rate lock your games. Frame rate lock it to the refresh rate of your monitor. Monitor 120, game 120. Monitor do 150, game 150.
Oh, well, anyone that tries to run higher than that, than their monitor refresh rate, that is a little silly. Given the limit.
Some people don't know.
I suppose that is true. Talking about it like I'm at a list here. It's like, oh, so you don't see your game in 1,000 FPS?
What do you mean I can't perceive that? That's crazy.
I'm a big believer that the difference between 60 and 144 is very noticeable, and I do enjoy it when it permits, but I often joke with the audience that it's so much. I used to play at 120 and stream at 60, but it would create screen tears, and I was not aware, and everyone was too polite to tell me. And then one day I was watching a VOD back, and I was like, wait, why? And it's only at the top right corner. I'm like, why is it screen tearing? And then after research and everything, I was like, oh, that was a bad idea. Yep. But
frame rate match.
Yeah, and then when I got it all matched, now everyone can say everything runs 10 times better. Like, there actually is a noticeable improvement. I will say this to you. You use a Shure SM7B, I take it? Or...
I'm going to be real. I don't remember what model this is. Once I bought it, I just didn't care. What are you?
Is it connected to a cloud lifter? Or like a... is it just plugged straight into your PC, or?
No, I've got the little amperage improvement doodad plugged into a Wave XLR.
Wave XLR?
I have a Go XLR. Yeah, I have a Go XLR. I just haven't hooked it all up yet.
Because I would love to know your settings, because you sound so much better. Obviously, well, you're hearing me in the Discord through my gaming headset, so I'm hearing your crisp voice, and well, the audience hear my crisp voice, but you hear me through a gaming headset.
So, one thing I will say is that the Wave XLR comes with its own companion software called Wavelink.
Yeah.
And when I tell you that the minute I installed Wavelink, I forgot that Voicemeeter ever existed ever again, brother. The complication of Voicemeeter caused me many, many long nights of frustration.
I can believe that.
This is the immaculate difference. And it's really easy to use. And you can create more and more and more little sound channels and do whatever. And you can still do virtual virtual wiring and all that kind of jazz, but it's not required.
If everyone knew how little, a lot of people seem to think I'm an expert at what I'm doing here. If everyone realized how much duct tape is actually holding this whole operation together, from the PCs to the audio to, it's one of those ones you wonder how it even runs, but it does somehow.
Have you ever had all of your audio settings goofed up by a Windows update?
Yeah. Honestly, I turned my computer on one day, and the water coolant sounded like a cement mixer. I only had the PC 2 months and had to send it away, and I streamed through it and unironically fell in love with streaming while my PC was in the work. You know what I mean? I was playing everything was, what's the word? I was on my old PC. The quality of the stream was horrible. Everything just went wrong, and somehow it ended up working. You work through it, and honestly, I like the challenge. There is a part of me that loves when things break, so I can fix it. But it's a bit of a, it's impractical when you're trying to do something like this.
That's true. And yeah, no, it's fun to unravel the the complexities of what makes these things work, and you know how to make them better. And I will wholeheartedly admit I sunk a lot of money into this audio setup, and I'm happy with it overall because, of course, you know, I use it for work and I was using it for streaming, and you know, it's given me access to some side opportunities that I might not otherwise have had with lesser audio quality.
Audio quality makes or breaks a stream. Like I have tuned into people, and you know, they're off their gaming headset, and I'm just sitting there going, wow, you know, they've the makings of everything. They just don't have the audio. And obviously, and you know, not to say on people, you know, maybe they can't afford it or they're looking to afford it later on, but audio really makes or breaks whether you can sit and listen to somebody. You know,
it really does.
Because I'm very glad that you ended up having amazing audio from the beginning. Like I've never seen that go from the first thing I was like, oh, that's, you know, this is going to be something to listen to for an hour. And then you went to the phone and I'm like, oh, we're getting better. And now I'm jealous. So it's, you've somehow, you've went through all the emotions. It's like.
Well, one of the other things that you can do to improve any mic's quality is actually to make adjustments to like your bass and treble and your different audio levels. And there are tutorials on how to adjust for your type of voice. Like I'm a baritone, and I found exactly one tutorial on YouTube about how to adjust my particular setup for baritone. And also how to eliminate background noise and audio fuzz and general feedback and, you know, things like that. Like, I've got a fan running right now. I don't even know if you can hear it.
Noise gates and all engaged to take it?
Yep, barely, by the way. It doesn't take much.
See, my problem was I got this with the Go XLR profile, and I've got a cloud lifter. I got it perfect. Like, it was perfect. Like, I listened to myself and I was impressed. And Chat and all doesn't know this. I lost that profile when I left my computer into the PC repair shop, and they wiped it without... Like, the knowledge was that they weren't going to wipe it. And I'd taken all my recordings, you know, every vital file, but at no point did I consider my Go XLR profile. I lost it, cannot find the tutorial video in my search history, no. So I have never fully recovered my audio because I don't, you know when you have something perfect and you don't know, but it just works. Didn't even mean to drop the Todd Howard joke there, but it just works, and I lost it, and I'm just like, uh-oh. So
yeah, I mean, to be fair, had you not said anything, I never would have known. I think you sound fine.
I'm a perfectionist. I'm a what is it? A criminally bad perfectionist, because everything needs to be perfect, and they'll always say to me, oh, no, it's all good. And I'm like, no, it's not good enough. It needs to be better.
It's not good enough, chat. God.
Oh, brilliant. But have you enjoyed yourself? Just chilling out?
Man.
You seem to have enjoyed your time in the chat anyway, even before we spoke.
Oh, sure. No, man, I've been having a blast. Answering all of the questions, 3 of which are still pending.
Here, to be fair, I did lose track of looking. Fudge, your thoughts on Fallout 4 companions or general favorite companion?
Still Curie. Curie is the best. Forever.
The French voice get you, or?
No. Having a medic bot best bot. Especially once you get Medicbot into a synth body, because then she's appreciative.
What about
the sass makes sense?
I never thought about it that way. I leaned on French accent. That's my favorite part about her.
If it wasn't Curie, it was Kate.
My favorite will always remain the same.
Yeah, go on.
I like Piper. I don't know. There's just I love the inquisitiveness and the quips. My second favorite is definitely Dance, though. Just because Dance is an absolute
dance.
Pretty much. What's your
Let's see.
thoughts on the Star Citizens no loading screen server merging? What the heck?
No, that's a valid question. Listen, it's still really long on some of your like quote unquote loading screens. Like it's not, they don't have loading screens traditionally. Like if you're on a planet, they've got like a tram system to get around, and that's how they navigate the transition between servers to lighten the load on having to, because you're processing entire planets, solar systems, so they have to adjust how you perceive those things. Like if you take off with your ship and you break orbit, there's a different server for the planet than there is for the the space around it. It's a good technique. I just wish that game wasn't a scam.
Thank you. Sorry. I had a friend
No,
back
it
it,
is.
and I said to them, I was like, why did you back that? And he's like, oh, look good. No, I said, mate, I could see it from a million miles away that was just never going to fly. Well, we've got something flying now, but in terms of wanting something in the next 2 or 3 years at that time, I was like, you're crazy. You ain't getting it. There's not even a title even close.
A coworker talked me into backing that back in like 2017. And so I bought the cheapest package you could get. And then later on, knowing full well that the ship I bought didn't work, so it did not in fact fly, I bought a second ship, which I was really disappointed with. And then somebody told me you could trade in your packages for full value and just get something else. So I got a ship that actually flew. Problem was, it didn't fly in VTOL, so I couldn't take off unless I wanted to scrape the deck for, the first 10 seconds of trying to fly forward. The whole thing's a scam. It really, truly just, it was an embarrassment. And the amount of money that they've soaked in is just, it's crazy to me.
It's in the hundreds of millions of dollars, isn't it? It's something...
Ain't no way.
I was near sure I seen an article. How long? Let's see. How much has it been funded? Star Citizens total...
Oh my good God.
Funding. Isn't it? Is it something? 1.1 billion?
$1 billion. And the fact that it is not ready is insane. But then again, you also have to think about the fact that their microtransactions, they've got microtransactions that cost as much as a car.
Yep. If anyone needed a wee bit of a nudge on it, like...
In 2017, they were selling a frigate that wasn't in the game yet for $3,000. There's a dude that streams on Twitch. He's not even a big streamer, but he was making like high six figures a year doing IT product development. My man bought some package for $25,000. Most of it's not even in the game. Some of the things that are in the game aren't ready to work. I could cry. Like, that was the cost of my brand new car off the lot. And he spent it on game assets that don't work yet. And may never work entirely. And you're never getting that money back. It's just not happening. And I'm screaming inside. My poverty is yelling for help.
Oh, there's nothing
Like, don't get me
worse.
wrong, I do okay, but Jesus.
People are just spending that in in-game assets. It's a whole different thing. But here,
Like,
at the end of the day, I am a firm believer in you can put your money wherever you really want. I mean, we'll go into the discussion of the people that spend on OnlyFans or something. There are people out there that have ludicrous amounts of money to spend on equally
Whatever they want.
ludicrous things.
You know what? If you have adult money and you're paying your bills and you're confident in whatever, you go right on ahead and you spend it. But, man.
Oh, here, you can spend it. You're not safe from judgment, though. Like if someone wants to make a passing comment needs to be made. Last question, Fudge. Will you stay for the after party, says Stinky?
There's an after party?
Basically in the Discord after stream, we just chill about. There's like 20 to 30 of us.
Gotcha.
It's good fun.
Crazy.
It's
Crazy.
off the record. So it's...
Tommy has a golf cart? Tommy, have you got a golf cart?
Yeah.
Why have you got a golf cart, Tommy?
Through weird circumstances, I don't have a golf course, if that's what you're thinking. But
Do you play golf?
occasionally. Is it used for
Oh my
golf?
God.
No.
He golfs. He's got 3 butlers, 6 maids.
I wish.
Tom, do you have a mansion, Tom?
Last
Are
time
you
I
a
checked,
lord,
no.
Tom? Sorry. Are you a laird, Tom? Like you
A lurd.
yeah, are you a laird?
60-acre estate. 600,000 acres. No, I'm only joking. My poverty is screaming is an amazing quote. Isn't it just? But yeah, I really enjoyed this, Fudge. Thank you so much for taking the time.
My pleasure.
I enjoyed it. The chat seems to have enjoyed it. I know for the couple of that were probably here just solely for Sim Settlements 2, don't worry, like we will play that tomorrow. So, don't worry. Gotta keep everyone happy. Everyone's got
to do it again sometime.
Oh, definitely. But I'll wrap it up there, folks, and I'll see some of you afterwards. So, hang ye. And he's gone. I'll see you all in a bit. We can have a chat. Laters.